Is it rented as well? Chun Xiao. Indeed, if you work diligently, I shall procure one for myself by year's end. Yin Bingxin, I won't work for you for free. Look, what you're saying is true. We are indeed a community of shared destiny. Your efforts will lead to my increased profits. Yin Bingxin remarked, but what if I don't put in the effort? Chun Xiao chuckled. If you choose not to exert yourself, I will still prosper, but you may find yourself lacking. Yin Bingxin fell silent. Is this truly a community of shared destiny? It seems you are reaping all the benefits. Oh, let us not be so definitive. Should I reward you with a child? Wouldn't that be his as well? Yin Bingxin retorted, you rogue. Outside the outskirts of Yindu, Wang Tian had just returned and casually purchased a villa to reside in temporarily. Yin Ziyuan arrived with gifts for a visit. The two men seemed like long-lost friends, instantly comfortable in each other's company. Mr. Wang, I have long admired your esteemed reputation. It is truly a pleasure to meet you today, Yin Ziyuan said courteously. Mr. Yin, you are too kind. But how did you know I have an affinity for traditional culture? Wang Tian asked while admiring an ancient painting. Yin Ziyuan replied, that is quite a coincidence. I was unaware of your appreciation for ancient art. I merely brought along my favorite piece to express my sentiments to you. Wang Tian was pleased, continued to admire the painting for a while, then inquired, what brings you to me? When the conversation turned serious, Yin Ziyuan's expression grew solemn. To be candid, I have a request today. Oh, do share, Wang Tian encouraged. Yin Ziyuan sighed before elaborating. This is my company's development plan. Unfortunately, just as we were on the verge of acquiring the Yindu plot number 13, Chun Xiao unexpectedly intervened. Wait, who did you say? Wang Tian interrupted. A certain Chun Xiao, a financial genius, Yin Ziyuan clarified. Wang Tian furrowed his brow. Is he the Chun Xiao from Jining University? Indeed, that is the one, Yin Ziyuan confirmed. Wang Tian's expression grew cold. Not this Chun Xiao again. Rest assured, the more he interferes, the more I shall ensure he fails. Now, tell me more about your situation. Yin Ziyuan felt a surge of joy. Splendid. He then recounted the entire sequence of events as he understood them. Of course, he portrayed Chun Xiao's legitimate financial activities as deliberately targeting the Atlantic Capital Group. After grasping the gist, Wang Tian asked, so your current issues revolve around funding and land, correct? Yin Ziyuan nodded. Precisely, Mr. Wang. I humbly request your assistance. Wang Tian replied nonchalantly, in Yindu, as long as the funds are adequate. I can declare that plot yours, and it shall be so. Yin Ziyuan was elated. With Wang Tian's assurance, there would be no obstacles. After all, Yindu was the Wang family's stronghold, where their influence was paramount. Thank you, Mr. Wang, for your generosity. Wang Tian responded, no need for thanks. I have heard that your eldest daughter remains single. Yin Ziyuan hesitated. Yes, my second daughter could also be considered. Wang Tian waved his hand dismissively. No need for the second daughter. I have long heard that Yin Bingxin is a celestial beauty. It will be delightful to share a meal and forge a friendship. Yin Ziyuan found himself in a predicament. Mr. Wang, my eldest daughter is quite headstrong and has partnered with Chun Xiao to establish some venture called Yida Commercial Group, which truly frustrates me. Wang Tian chuckled, expressing that there was no rush. As long as Chun Xiao was out of the picture, the Yida Commercial Group would surely be under their command. The pursuit of wealth and power was Wang Tian's ultimate goal. Yin Ziyuan paused, glancing at the fierce British faces surrounding him, feeling a sense of unease. Ever since he had contacted Wang Tian, the situation seemed to have spiraled beyond his control. It felt as though he had transformed from a chess player into a mere pawn. Within a single day, he experienced an overwhelming sense of helplessness and inability to influence the unfolding events. Yet, it was too late for regrets. As a local tycoon, he could not afford to offend the Wang family. Yin Ziyuan realized he had no retreat. Having boarded Wang Tian's ship, he was now bound to a relentless conflict with Chun Xiao. Sighing internally, Yin Ziyuan maintained an impassive exterior. Let us proceed according to Mr. Wang's plan, he declared. Wang Tian nodded in satisfaction, remarking, your Atlantic Capital Group, transfer a share to me. Upon becoming a shareholder, I will be closer to Bingxin. Yin Ziyuan thought to himself, damn it, after all this talk, they're just waiting for me? A mere fraction seemed trivial, yet it represented nearly 3 billion. Observing Wang Tian's demeanor, it was evident that he would not relent until his objectives were achieved. 3 billion, in comparison to the land in Yindu and the stock price of Atlantic Capital, was not excessively burdensome. If the land deal went well, it could yield a profit of several hundred billion with ease. With this in mind, Yin Ziyuan resolved, all right, I will have someone draft the share transfer agreement immediately. Wang Tian nodded approvingly. I will inform Yin Peng on my end. Rest assured, there will be no issues with the land auction. Yan Ziyuan marveled at the advantages of spending money. What had initially seemed an insurmountable challenge for him was swiftly resolved through a few words from another. Thank you for your efforts, Mr. Wang, he said. Wang Tian simply nodded, indicating that the conversation was concluded. Yan Ziyuan understood it was time to take his leave. After exchanging more pleasantries, he stepped outside Wang Tian's residence and gazed at the carpet of fallen leaves in Yindu, reflecting on the paradox of the seemingly invincible billionaire Jin Ning, who, at times, found himself utterly powerless. Truly, there are always greater forces at play beyond one's own. Watching Yan Ziyuan depart from the villa, Wang Tian smiled gently. He refrained from directly assisting Yan Ziyuan as he lacked expertise in finance. Wang Tian understood that to challenge Chen Xiao in his domain of strength would be akin to courting disaster. He was determined not to follow in the foolish footsteps of Wang Ju, whose actions had brought shame upon the family, resulting in his abandonment by their kin. This was the very reason for the change in family leadership. It was preferable to wield others as instruments, allowing them to confront Chen Xiao directly. The approach was both offensive and defensive. A victory would bring joy to all, while a defeat would only cost a few blades, nothing that would jeopardize the foundation. Upon returning to the hotel, Yan Ziyuan soon received a call from Yin Peng. Hello, Director Yan, do you have time to discuss the funding matter? Let us finalize this as soon as possible. Yan Ziyuan raised an eyebrow, realizing that the Wang family was applying pressure on him. Otherwise, how could Yin Peng, who has been indifferent until now, take the initiative to call? Haha, very well. I shall await you at the Yindu Grand Hotel. Chapter 340, The Break. All right, I'll be there shortly. Yan Ziyuan once again felt the terrifying power of the Wang family. Yin Peng's strength was not much inferior to his own. With a mere word from the Wang family, he was compelled to endure the pain of losses to seek collaboration with him. After approximately half an hour of waiting, Yin Peng arrived, his expression grave, accompanied by his team. Unlike his previous nonchalance, Yin Peng was now quite accommodating. There was hardly any contention, and he easily secured a loan of $25 billion by pledging 10% of the shares in the Atlanta Capital Group. However, there was one non-negotiable condition that Yin Peng insisted upon. Should the stock price fall to the warning line, if Yan Ziyuan were unable to repay the funds, he would have the right to liquidate his shares in the Atlanta Capital Group. Yan Ziyuan was utterly unfazed by this. He was on the verge of acquiring the Yindu land and had the Wang family's backing. The Atlanta Capital Group was thriving, basking in a golden period of development. Given the multitude of favorable circumstances, not only was a drop to the warning line implausible, but even a decline seemed impossible. Moreover, even in the event of unforeseen circumstances, there remained a 12-point margin before reaching the liquidation threshold. Since its listing, the Atlanta Capital Group had never encountered a halt in trading. He could not fathom such a scenario occurring during this prosperous phase. The two parties swiftly reached an agreement and then parted ways. The following day was the day of the land auction. Despite having less than $300 billion at his disposal, with the Wang family as a formidable backing, there was no room for doubt. Many were closely observing this matter. Should the Wang family fail to secure it, their influence within the country would undoubtedly suffer a significant blow. Meanwhile, Chen Xiao continued to liquidate his holdings. The stock price of the Atlanta Capital Group remained stagnant. However, Yan Ziyuan had ceased to concern himself with such matters. Ultimately, the goal was the land. Achieving that was all that mattered. Even if the stock price dipped slightly, he remained indifferent. The next day, as Yan Ziyuan had anticipated, the land auction proceeded smoothly. The coveted land, long sought after, was finally secured. As he exited the venue, a smile of uncontainable joy adorned his face. Acquiring this land solidified the foundational prospects for the future development of the Atlanta Capital Group. The news rapidly spread in all directions. Upon hearing, shareholders immediately intensified their stock purchases, causing the stock price of the Atlanta Capital Group to rise once more. Chen Xiao sat in his office, attentively monitoring the market. Having already liquidated the majority of his holdings, he faced challenges in disposing of the remaining portion. However, seizing the opportunity presented by this market surge, he successfully exited with ease. This maneuver involved an investment of $31.2 billion, yielding an average profit of $19.81. The total profit amounted to $61.8 billion, allowing him to repay all borrowed funds. Chen Zhao's account once again boasted over $13 billion in cash. The liquidation of all stocks was merely the beginning. Through recent operations, Chen Xiao had acquired more than $30 billion worth of Atlanta Capital stocks through margin trading and borrowing. Capitalizing on the market momentum, he aggressively sold off shares. A flurry of substantial sell orders was unleashed, ruthlessly suppressing the stock price of Atlantic Capital Group, which was poised for a meteoric rise. Yin Ziyuan was perplexed. With such a significant advantage acquired from the Yindu land deal, it seemed reasonable to expect at least a 6 or 7-point increase, if not a limit up. Yet, oddly enough, the stock only ascended by a mere 2 points before stagnating, failing to reflect any substantial positive momentum. Little did he know that, after an additional 2-point surge, the stock price of Atlantic Capital Group had reached the upper limit indicated by Chun Xiao's concealed information. Following the sell-off orchestrated by Chun Xiao and certain institutions aware of Atlantic Capital Group's excessive debt ratio, the 2-point gain that had been achieved before the market close reverted back downwards. Yin Ziyuan furrowed his brow deeply, questioning the circumstances. Was it Chun Xiao's doing? Hadn't he already liquidated his holdings? His subordinates, having just received this alarming news, hesitated to speak. Upon noticing their reticence, Yin Ziyuan barked, "Speak up immediately. If you delay, you may as well get lost." One familiar with the situation trembled and quickly responded, "Boss, after Chun Xiao liquidated, he borrowed a significant amount of our stocks through margin trading, and he is still selling." "What?" Yin Ziyuan exclaimed. "That scoundrel intends to short us." "Boss, some of the stocks in Chun Xiao's possession were lent to him by the young lady," his subordinate added. It took Yin Ziyuan a moment to process this information. The young lady? Yin Bingqin lent her stocks to Chun Xiao? "Indeed, boss," came the confirmation. Internally, Yin Ziyuan cursed vehemently. "This wretched child. I truly regret not having silenced her when she was young. How could she conspire with an outsider to undermine me?" Noticing the fluctuating expression on their boss's face, his subordinates grew anxious and inquired, "Boss, are you all right?" After a prolonged moment, Yin Ziyuan finally declared, "Call a board meeting and expel her." "Yes." Meanwhile, Yin Bingqin, who was dining with Chun Xiao, soon received the notification of her expulsion from the board. However, she was unfazed, having anticipated this outcome when she decided to lend her stocks to Chun Xiao. Whether or not she was on the board would not affect her holdings in Atlantic Capital Group. What puzzled her was the absence of an irate phone call from Yin Ziyuan, likely because he was too furious to even hear his own voice. "My dear brother, you are all I have now," she thought, as Chun Xiao grasped her hand resting on the table. "Trust me, you will not lose." For once, Chun Xiao's demeanor was serious, prompting Yin Bingqin to stifle her playful expression. "Yes, I believe in you," she replied. Chun Xiao gently squeezed her delicate hand, urging, "Let's eat." Yin Bingqin smiled, choosing to remain silent. Chun Xiao understood her feelings. Although she appeared indifferent on the surface, her heart was undoubtedly tumultuous. At that moment, a subordinate approached and whispered something into Chun Xiao's ear, causing his expression to darken visibly. "What is it?" Yin Bingqin inquired. After a moment's contemplation, Chun Xiao instructed, "Do not return to Beisheng just yet. Stay by my side." Yin Bingqin was momentarily taken aback and felt a flicker of shyness. But the project is at a critical stage." Chun Xiao replied coldly, "Reliable sources indicate that scoundrel Wang Tian has set his sights on you." Yin Bingqin promptly rolled up her sleeves and brandished her slender arms, declaring, "Rest assured, should he dare to visit, I shall not hesitate to break his legs." Chun Xiao interjected, "Wang Tian is not to be trifled with. He is perpetually surrounded by numerous members of international security firms, all of whom are seasoned in the art of violence. Your bodyguards are no match for them." Yin Bingqin's expression then fell, as she recognized that while her bodyguards could handle ordinary threats, they would falter against professionals. "Well, very well then," she conceded. Chun Xiao smiled reassuringly. "You need not worry excessively. At least within my Binyuan, you shall encounter no issues. I shall endeavor to resolve this predicament as swiftly as possible." Previously, Yin Bingqin had held Chun Xiao's extensive security measures in disdain, often privately branding him as timid and paranoid. It was only now that she grasped the foresight of his preparations. Had he not established sufficient security forces, provoking someone like Wang Tian would undoubtedly lead to dire consequences. Chapter 341. Her friend is truly unruly. Yin Bingqin obediently settled into Benhuiyuan. Communication regarding her work in the northern province was conducted via email and telephone. The Atlantic Capital Group, as the primary battleground, continued to witness fierce clashes between opposing factions, leaving Yin Ziyuan apprehensive. He remained uncertain about the extent of Chun Xiao's remaining leverage. Should he succeed in driving the stock prices to collapse, the repercussions would be monumental. The most immediate consequence would be the stock plummeting to a critical threshold, triggering a sell-off by Yin Peng. Offloading billions of shares would spell true disaster. Yin Ziyuan felt a sense of frustration. Despite securing a significant advantage with the acquisition of the Yindu plot, the situation had devolved into chaos instead of flourishing. What a predicament. I have a handful of explosives, yet managed to play a 3-2 game, he lamented. His once genteel persona had taken on a more sinister edge, and his meticulously styled hair had become disheveled. He needed to devise a plan. From the previous exploratory attempts, it was evident that the Wang family would only leverage their influence without direct financial support. Wang Tian seemed particularly averse to the financial markets. Thus, self-rescue became imperative. After much contemplation, Yan Ziyuan concluded that severing a limb to survive was his only option. He resolved to sell shares of his subsidiary companies to raise funds necessary to rescue the parent company's stock price. Although this resembled the act of robbing Peter to pay Paul, Yan Ziyuan felt he had no alternative. In such perilous times, no one would come to his aid. The fact that others refrained from actively sabotaging him was already a sign of a relatively decent relationship. However, selling off subsidiary shares required first securing the consent of his wife, Lu Mei, and his second daughter, Yan Yanyan. Since Yan Bingqin had divested all her company stocks to establish a real estate firm with Chen Xiao, these two now held the largest stakes within the subsidiaries. Yan Ziyuan took out his phone and dialed Yan Yanyan. As the call connected, a cacophony erupted from the other end. "Hello? Yanyan, where are you?" he inquired, frowning. "Hello, Dad. I'm in Hokkaido. What's up?" It dawned on Yan Ziyuan that he had sent Yanyan abroad to avoid any complications. "Oh, there are matters at the company that require your input. Please return as soon as possible." "What? Right now?" Yan Ziyuan. "It is quite urgent." "Oh, very well. See you tomorrow, father." Just as the call had not yet been disconnected, Yan Ziyuan heard a voice on the other end exclaiming, "Xiao Ji, hold strong. This is just the beginning. Only then did the line go dead." Yan Ziyuan shook his head, feeling embarrassed about his daughter's behavior. He couldn't help but think of Yan Bingqin, feeling even more disheartened. What kind of potion had this foolish girl consumed to lose her senses so completely? When scolded by Yan Ziyuan, Yan Bingqin didn't even let out a sneeze in protest. On the rooftop terrace of the villa atop Benhuiyan, the setting sun cast a warm glow upon Yan Bingqin, outlining her graceful contours. The gentle evening breeze tousled her hair, playfully caressing her delicate features. Leaning on one hand, she gazed dreamily at Chen Xiao. With a swift motion, Chen Xiao aimed carefully and released the arrow, which struck the target with the speed of lightning. Satisfied, he lowered his compound bow and turned to Yan Bingqin. "How was that? Impressive, right?" Yan Bingqin nodded. "You look handsome no matter what you do." Chen Xiao replied modestly. "Not to that extent." With a sigh, Yan Bingqin reflected on the home she longed to escape from. Yet, the thought of truly leaving stirred a sense of reluctance within her. Chen Xiao chuckled, acknowledging that while it is easy to advise others to let go, it is far more challenging to do so oneself. He sincerely advised against returning to the Zijing manor, as it was fraught with treachery and self-interest, devoid of familial warmth. In such an environment, one could easily become a mere pawn. Why maintain a facade of harmony? "Chen Xiao, would you betray me?" she asked. He smiled, then grew serious. "If you wish to be my woman, I suggest you take some time to speak with Su Tang. There, you may discover the answers you seek." Yan Bingqin pouted in defiance. "Isn't she merely your subordinate?" "No, you're mistaken. The foundation of Tangxiao Capital owes much of its success to me, but maintaining it has been largely due to Su Tang's contributions. Moreover, she has saved me." Yan Bingqin was taken aback, realizing Su Tang's significant role in both Tangxiao Capital and Chen Xiao's life. "I can achieve that too." Chen Xiao gazed at her for a long moment before chuckling. "Let's not dwell on this topic any longer. I must return to school for some matters. If you need anything, please contact my secretary." "All right, then you busy yourself," Yan Bingqin replied. Chen Xiao nodded and exited the room. Half a semester had already passed, and winter vacation was just around the corner. Observing the bustling students on campus, Chen Xiao couldn't help but feel a sense of nostalgia for the swift passage of time. Despite cherishing every moment, he realized that soon he would enter the second semester of his junior year. The beloved campus life would eventually come to an end. At present, Jining University had almost become Chen Xiao's domain. Even the security forces had been successfully transitioned to the Black Shield security, ensuring strict scrutiny of outsiders entering and leaving the campus, further safeguarding Chen Xiao's security. Upon returning to the dormitory, Chen Xiao was surprised to find Xiao Ji there as well. This fellow had undergone a complete transformation, dressed in increasingly expensive attire. Chen Xiao noted that it was either Chanel or Gucci. The cost amounted to several tens of thousands. "My physique has only grown more gaunt. What on earth? Didn't you go abroad? Xiao Ji replied with a weary smile. I've had my fun, and here I am back. How did it go for you? Couldn't you eat well abroad? Xiao Ji responded, I ate, but I couldn't get used to it. Home is still the best. Chun Xiao chuckled, well aware of the true reason, yet he saw no need to confront it directly. So, did you manage to earn a good sum this time? At the mention of this, Xiao Ji perked up. About 100,000, but it's not much. Observing his pretentious demeanor, Chun Xiao felt speechless. He had to toil for that sum, half of which was spent on clothing. Oh, was Hokkaido enjoyable? I heard there are many beautiful women there, just like in those little films. Wasn't it delightful? Xiao Ji's expression changed dramatically, and he hastily waved his hand. What the hell? How did you know I went to Hokkaido? Don't mention women. I'm currently allergic to them. He shuddered involuntarily. Chun Xiao stifled his laughter, thinking to himself that Yin Yin's whereabouts were undoubtedly monitored by Zhong. Wherever she went, Xiao Ji was bound to follow. But what had Xiao Ji truly experienced? To be so frightened at the mere mention of women? What's wrong? The woman on the business card you showed me was quite beautiful. Wasn't she? Did she treat you poorly? Xiao Ji shook his head. Yin. She treated me well, but her friends were utterly insufferable. Chapter 342. Sacrificing flesh to satisfy hunger. Yin, returning with Xiao Ji, did not land in Jining, but instead turned to fly to Yindu to meet Yin Ziyuan. By this time, she had already arrived at the hotel. Yin Ziyuan, unable to contain his impatience, rushed to Yin Yin's room. Yin was taken aback. Her father had always been composed and had never been this proactive. Dad, what's wrong? Yin Ziyuan replied, don't tidy up just yet. I need to discuss a serious matter with you. Yin set aside the clothes she was about to change into. Is it urgent? Indeed. The Atlantic Capital Group is facing significant issues. Upon hearing this, Yin became solemn. What do you mean, Dad? Yin Ziyuan selectively shared some information with her. Yin was astonished that the Atlantic Capital Group could encounter such troubles. After a moment of silence, she spoke. Dad, just tell me what you need me to do. Yin Ziyuan stated gravely, I need you to join me in reducing our shares in Jining Pharmaceutical and other companies to repurchase the Atlantic Capital Group. Yin replied, but the stock prices of the subsidiaries overlap with that of the Atlantic Capital Group. Reducing our stakes in Jining Pharmaceutical will also impact the Atlantic Capital Group stock price. Yin Ziyuan insisted, we can't be concerned with the details. Overall, the benefits outweigh the drawbacks. Yin was speechless. This was akin to sacrificing one's own flesh to stave off hunger. While it wouldn't lead to immediate starvation, it would certainly be painful. Although she was relatively free-spirited, she was not foolish. Such significant decisions typically required consultation with her mother, Lu Mei, who was the ultimate decision-maker. The reason Yin Ziyuan had called her alone was that Lu Mei would undoubtedly disapprove if she found out. Though they were married, they represented different interest groups. The Lu family and the Yin family are, indeed, not of the same surname. Yin, this matter must remain confidential for now, including from your mother. Seeing Yin hesitating and resisting, Yin Ziyuan continued, if you cannot manage this, then let it be. The support of Yin Bingqin alone, though somewhat reluctant, should suffice. Upon hearing Yin Bingqin's name, Yin lost her composure. Father, you need not worry, I won't mention it to my mother. Yin Ziyuan felt a sense of relief, and, with a kind expression, said, good child, although reducing your shares in the subsidiary will result in some losses. You can take this opportunity to increase your stake in the parent company, thereby riding the wave of our Atlantic Capital Group's rapid growth. Yin considered this and found it reasonable. Some subsidiaries are destined to be phased out by the times, while real estate enterprises are the backbone. With this thought, accepting the situation became far less daunting. The next day, Tongxiao Capital suddenly faced a fierce counterattack. In the Tongxiao Capital office, Chun Xiao reclined in a lounge chair while Lin Yinyu massaged his shoulders and Lin Yinran gently pounded his legs, enjoying the moment until a report from Su Tang disrupted the tranquility. Boss, a large number of buy orders have suddenly appeared in the market, sweeping away the low-price sell orders. The stock price of Atlantic Capital Group has begun to recover slowly. Chun Xiao was taken aback and pushed Lin Yinran's hand away. What is happening? The stock price of Atlantic Capital Group had already reached a hidden information warning of a maximum increase of 25% and was beginning to turn downward, facing a potential 30-point drop. How can it still be rising? He exclaimed. Su Tang, check with Zhong to see if there's any news. Yes. Su Tang left to make a call and returned shortly with a report. Boss, Yin Ziyuan is selling off shares of his subsidiary and is aggressively repurchasing Atlantic Capital Group. Chun Xiao was stunned for a moment and then burst into laughter. Ha! Old Yin must be out of options. That scoundrel Wang Tian is not stepping up either. Why doesn't he, like his brother, flood the financial market with cash to assist Yin Ziyuan? Su Tang chuckled. The Wang family has learned their lesson in this regard. They are not that foolish. Chun Xiao appeared relaxed. Atlantic Capital Group was not only under his short position. Numerous institutions and prominent investors had also become aware of their predicament. Furthermore, the stock price of Atlantic Capital Group had been rising for months, reaching the psychological price point for many, prompting them to take profits and exit. A combination of factors contributed to the decline in Atlantic Capital Group's stock price. Yin Ziyuan's actions, while a means of self-rescue, also greatly aided Qin Xiao. As the stock price began to rise, some individuals hesitated, allowing Tongxiao Capital to intensify their selling efforts. Large sell orders were unleashed, swiftly executed. It appeared that both the bulls and bears were evenly matched. However, only Yin Ziyuan knew that he had been dealt a heavy blow by Chun Xiao. Observing the stock price once more stabilizing, a faint smile appeared at the corners of Chun Xiao's mouth. Unbeknownst to many analyzing the curves for patterns, there were no true rules. Much of it was influenced by individual actions. Yin Ziyuan had exhausted his options, while Chun Xiao still held a trump card yet to be played: the announcement of Atlantic Capital Group's stock reduction. Once this news ferments, it is likely that Yin Ziyuan's situation will worsen. However, Chun Xiao does not wish for it to deteriorate further, as he has yet to fully liquidate his holdings. The Atlantic Capital Group, amidst the myriad of stocks in the financial market over the past few days, stands out conspicuously. Although the stock price remains stable, the trading volume continues to soar. By the afternoon's close, Chun Xiao left the office in high spirits, while Yin Ziyuan breathed a sigh of relief. Yin Peng rubbed his weary eyes, his concerns somewhat alleviated. Numerous other stakeholders were affected to varying degrees. The stability of the Atlantic Capital Group's stock price aligned with their interests. Yet, the true circumstances were known only to Qin Xiao. Yin Ziyuan's strenuous efforts to stabilize the stock price merely delayed the inevitable downward trend. Once his funds were depleted, the decline of Atlantic Capital would only accelerate. Qin Xiao was aware of this, but kept it to himself. After work, in a buoyant mood, Chun Xiao reserved the entire top floor of the Oasis Hotel, the tallest building in Jining. The vast, luxurious restaurant housed only 2 diners, Chun Xiao and the popular singer Zhang Enki. The hotel played music that Chun Xiao favored, and the 5-star chef had meticulously crafted a sumptuous meal tailored to Chun Xiao's taste. Zhang Enki felt somewhat shy in Chun Xiao's presence. During this period, she had been circulating among major radio shows, rapidly rising to fame under the auspices of Panhai Entertainment. Yet, this idol, revered by countless fans, felt a flutter of excitement upon meeting Chun Xiao, for she understood that her glittering exterior was superficial. The true power to influence significant figures lay with someone of Chun Xiao's caliber. As he savored the exquisite dishes, Chun Xiao casually inquired, "Is work proceeding smoothly?" "Yes, quite smoothly. The company leadership has been exceptionally supportive." "Thank you, senior," she replied. Chun Xiao smiled. "It's a trivial matter. As my junior, I would help you." "Hee. I respect you, senior." "Well then, let's drink." After they clinked glasses and drank, Chun Xiao asked, "I heard you're planning a concert in the Magic Capital?" "Yes, but the venue negotiations have been difficult, with some stringent conditions. I'm uncertain if it will materialize," she responded. Chun Xiao nodded and raised his hand, summoning an assistant. "Have Mr. He take care of this matter." "Yes, boss," the assistant replied, stepping aside to make the call. Within 5 minutes, he returned. "Boss, it's all set. Miss Sun can hold her concert anytime." "Good," Chun Xiao smiled. "Let's eat first. Nothing is more important than a meal." Zhang Enki exclaimed. Such a challenging issue was resolved so casually. What others struggled for a month to negotiate, a mere phone call from you made it happen. And it seems that it holds less importance than the meal before us. "Oh, thank you, senior. Don't mention it. How long has it been since you returned to school?" Zhang Enki replied, "About 2 months, I suppose. Accompany me for a stroll after dinner." "All right." By the time they finished their meal, it was already past 9 in the evening. Zhang Enki and Chun Xiao share a ride back to campus. They alighted at the entrance and proceeded to stroll into the university grounds. Zhang Enki was clad in a wide-brimmed hat, sunglasses, and a mask, wrapped up so tightly that onlookers could only discern her splendid figure, while her face remained completely obscured. "Enki, do you recall your military training days?" Zhang Enki chuckled. "Oh, I remember. Senior, you brought several truckloads of watermelons, and that afternoon turned into a watermelon festival for multiple classes. We hardly trained, and afterward, all the trash bins overflowed, leaving chaotic mess. The cleaning lady scolded us for a full hour." Chun Xiao replied, To this day, I maintain it was not my fault. I solely blame the lack of decorum among contemporary university students. How could they leave such a mess of watermelon rinds? I was even summoned to the principal's office for a reprimand. Really? Was it that serious? Zhang Enki inquired. Fortunately, after the scolding, I shared some tea with him and we had a chat, and the matter was soon forgotten. Zhang Enki gazed at the tall figure walking ahead, feeling a profound sense of safety. Reflecting on her transition from the ivory tower to university life, she realized that no matter the challenges she faced, her senior always seemed to resolve them effortlessly. Tentatively, Zhang Enki extended her hand, yearning to link it with Chen Zhao's, but hesitated several times, lacking the courage to proceed. Just then, Chen Zhao, noticing her silence, turned around. In a flash, Zhang Enki withdrew her hand and tucked it into her pocket, feigning nonchalance while surveying her surroundings. It's quite chilly today, she remarked. Chen Zhao smiled, gently taking her hand from her pocket and placing it alongside his in his own pocket, creating a more relaxed atmosphere. Zhang Enki felt her breath momentarily catch. Did her senior just hold her hand? Her heart raced like a drum, her cheeks flushed, and her mind went blank. Do you like it? Chen Zhao asked softly. Zhang Enki replied, her voice barely audible. Chen Zhao chuckled. My hand is not so easily held. Do you truly know me? I do. Zhang Enki responded. Sister Su Tang has spoken to me about you. Chen Zhao paused, surprised at her insight. So, Su Tang had already cleared the path for her. She was becoming ever more capable. Since she was aware of the circumstances, he queried. Aren't you worried? Zhang Enki shook her head. Senior, I trust that you will handle everything well. One to you? Chen Zhao smiled affirmatively. Zhang Enki shyly lowered her gaze. Chen Zhao tenderly pulled her into his embrace. Onlookers could scarcely imagine that in his arms lay their campus star, the rising pop sensation, and the most enchanting girl next door. What the heck? Xiaozi, what are you doing? Let go of that girl. Upon hearing the voice, Chen Zhao reluctantly released Zhang Enki and turned to Lu Xian, Shun Jiansheng, and Changge. What are you all doing out here instead of working? Seriously, have you no conscience, brother? Just look at the time. It's nearly 10 in the evening. Lu Xian quipped. Chen Zhao replied, Oh, is it that late? Hee hee. Shun Jiansheng and the others were speechless, glancing at Zhang Enki. What are you two doing, playing the Matrix? Who is this girl wrapped up so tightly? Chen Zhao remarked. Who do you think should be the most discreet at our school? Lu Xian inquired. Who? Someone's girlfriend? Or perhaps a wife? Chen Zhao retorted, Get lost. It's been ages since I last saw you all. How about we find a place to grab a drink? Sure. I've had a busy day and haven't even eaten dinner yet. Let us go, he added. Let's head to Shuelin Yuan, Chen Zhao suggested. Lu Xian nodded, sighing. Ugh, it's so late, and we have to go such a long way. I wonder which idiot developer decided to tear down the back street. Otherwise, we wouldn't have to walk so far. Chen Zhao, speechless, kicked him lightly, muttering, Damn it, you were the happiest when they demolished it. Ha ha ha. I'll never forget the sight of Shi Tang's face when he saw his milk tea shop being torn down. It cracked me up. They laughed, chatting merrily as they exited the school gates. After about a 10-minute walk, they arrived at a barbecue restaurant beneath Shuelin Yuan. Once seated, Shun Jiansheng teased. This masked heroine still wears a mask while eating? Yes, let us see what your sister-in-law looks like, Changge added. Zhang Enki glanced at Chen Zhao, and upon receiving a nod from him, she removed her hat and glasses. Lu Xian's eyes widened in surprise. Whoa, so familiar. As Zhang Enki took off her mask, the three of them were momentarily stunned. Zhang Enki? They recalled the image of Chen Zhao holding her at school. A shared thought arose among them. Chen Zhao is truly impressive. He is charming, not only the school beauty from the neighboring school, but also the oil-painting goddess Li Wenli. Now, even a big star is in his embrace. Chen Zhao must be living life on easy mode. Hello, everyone. I am Zhang Enki. She introduced herself. Hi. Could I get your autograph? Lu Xian asked eagerly. Get lost. Are you going to eat or not? Forget about the autograph. Chen Zhao scolded. Zhang Enki chuckled. Let us take a group photo after we finish eating. The group was elated. Though they had achieved some success in their careers, they were still university students, and this was the era of fervent idol worship, especially for singers. With a celebrity present, the atmosphere while enjoying skewers was particularly vibrant. However, when another group entered, Lu Xian and the others appeared frozen in surprise. Whoa, Yu Mingqi! Lu Xian exclaimed. He glanced at Shun Jiansheng, who in turn looked at Changge. Changge, resigned, stood in front of Chen Zhao, but it was too late. Yu Mingqi had already spotted Chen Zhao and joyfully approached him. Ah, Chen Zhao, you're here too. After greeting him, she noticed Zhang Enki beside him, paused momentarily, and then composed herself, saying, Oh my, a big star? Could I get your autograph? Upon realizing that Zhang Enki was a friend of Chen Zhao's, she smiled and replied, Of course. Where would you like me to sign? Yu Mengqi, without a notebook, took out her eyebrow pencil and pointed her sweatshirt. Is this okay? Certainly. Zhang Enki responded as she signed. Yu Mengqi beamed, Thank you. I hope you all enjoy your meal, before she and her friends moved to a nearby table, leaving Lu Xin and the others utterly astonished. Was it a collision of worlds that ended in a warm embrace? How could that possibly make sense? Was Yu Mengqi really that oblivious? However, the reality lay before them, and the group dared not inquire further. Even their conversations grew cautious, fearful that any misstep might jeopardize Chen Zhao's interests. After their meal, Chen Zhao made his way to settle the bill. Yu Mengqi approached him with a look of melancholic longing. Chen Zhao, it's been several days since you last visited me. Chen Zhao, at a loss for words, replied, I'll combine a couple of days. Let us give you a brief respite. This brought a smile to Yu Mengqi's face as she glanced at Zhang Enki and remarked pointedly, Then I wish you a delightful evening. Chapter 344. The standards keep rising. Chen Zhao casually retrieved a bank card containing 100,000 yuan in cash and slipped it into Yu Mengqi's pocket. Enjoy a weekend shopping with your friends while I'm away. Thank you, darling. Yu Mengqi exclaimed, planting a quick kiss on Chen Zhao before gleefully returning to her friends. This left the front desk girl in utter astonishment. This man had arrived with another woman, yet he was kissed by this one? Chen Zhao chuckled. In the future, be discerning when choosing a boyfriend. Returning to the dining table, Lu Xin boasted, So, how was it, Chen? Did you splurge? Indeed, the meal cost 120 yuan. The others gasped in disbelief. Have you finished eating? Hurry up and leave. The door will be locked soon, Chen Zhao urged. Lu Xin and the others were taken aback. In such circumstances, shouldn't they delve deeper into matters? Ahem, we're staying up all night playing cards in the dorm. You should find somewhere else to sleep. Lu Xin suggested. Chen Zhao responded, and the group departed with camaraderie, leaving only him and Zhang Enki at the entrance. Shortly after, Yu Mengqi emerged, bidding them farewell. Goodbye. Good night. Good night, Chen Zhao replied. Once everyone had left, an awkward silence enveloped the two. Chen Zhao broke the ice. Shall we find a place to sit for a while? Zhang Enki, her head downcast, softly agreed. Chen Zhao waved his hand as a distant luxury car approached. The bodyguard opened a rear door, and both Chen Zhao and Zhang Enki entered. Lu, take us to Oasis International. Understood, sir. Inside the vehicle, Chen Zhao placed Zhang Enki's hand in his palm, and she did not resist. Whether it was the warmth from the car or something else, her cheeks remained flushed. Being a celebrity brought its own set of complications, requiring a significant degree of discretion to avoid attracting attention. Chen Zhao had intended to visit a bar, but Zhang Enki's status rendered that unsuitable. Late-night coffee could disrupt sleep. As he pondered, Zhang Enki timidly suggested, Senior, let us book a room. Upon hearing this, Chen Zhao's eyes widened. Ah, what a splendid idea. Mountain Cat, please reserve the presidential suite. Of course, an expenditure of 88,000 yuan for a night was trivial for Zhang Enki and insignificant for Chen Zhao. Once inside the room, the atmosphere grew increasingly intimate. Both were acutely aware of what was to transpire next. Zhang Enki felt particularly anxious, as it was her first time facing such a situation. Chen Zhao, having emerged from his tumultuous rebirth phase, had become increasingly composed. Upon her rebirth, she experienced a form of vengeful reflection on her past life. Now, however, she has firmly anchored her focus on the present. She approaches life with a newfound seriousness. Senior, I'll go wash up first, she stated. Chen Zhao nodded. All right, go ahead. With a blush adorning her cheeks, Zhang Enki departed, and Chen Zhao approached the expansive floor-to-ceiling window. From the 88th floor, he could gaze over half of Jining City. Lighting a cigarette, he inhaled quietly, contemplating his transformation into a figure whose very footsteps could shake the city. With assets exceeding hundreds of billions, he could influence the trajectories of multiple industries. Even the most popular stars would find themselves drawn to him. Yet, Chen Zhao was not content. He had much to accomplish. After a while, he heard Zhang Enki's melodious voice behind him, Senior. Turning around, he felt the room brighten. Zhang Enki, with her charmingly youthful demeanor, radiated an endearing shyness. Her flawless skin and sparkling eyes captivated him. Enki, you are truly beautiful. She smiled. Oh, Senior, you flatter me. Would you sing a song for me later? Chen Zhao inquired. Of course. What would you like to hear? He pondered for a moment. Just sing your best song. I'll go take a shower first. All right. In the presidential suite, while Chun Xiao showered, Zhang Enki prepared the equipment with great care. After flipping through various options, she decided to sing the song that had earned her the title of Happy Girl Champion, a moment that had dramatically altered the course of her life. From that point on, she was convinced she could never be apart from this man. Suddenly, she felt a warm embrace from behind. Senior. In that instant, her body tensed, but she quickly relaxed. Are you ready? Chun Xiao asked. Zhang Enki shyly nodded. Then let us begin. Okay. Zhang Enki's voice was enchanting, creating an intimate musical feast solely for Chun Xiao, allowing him to immerse himself in the ocean of melodies. They took turns singing, appreciating each other as talents, often harmonizing together. The sweet timbre of Zhang Enki melded perfectly with Chun Xiao's steadiness, reminiscent of longtime partners. The soundproofing was excellent, allowing them to revel in their joy without a care for the outside world. Zhang Enki's captivating voice was a treasure only for Chun Xiao to enjoy. The private amenities were splendid, whether on the sofa, the coffee table, or the stage. They could sing wherever they pleased. With each song, Zhang Enki lost herself in the moment. From that day forward, the most beautiful girl next door belonged solely to her eternal senior. As night fell over Jinning, the rain began to fall, seemingly to accentuate their romance. The wind and rain harmonized with their melodious serenade, weaving a beautiful nocturne. Chun Xiao gently tucked the strands of hair that clung to Zhang Enki's cheek behind her ear, his expression tender. You must be tired? Zhang Enki nestled against him. Shaking her head softly, I'm not tired. Chun Xiao smiled, urging, you should rest early. I'll go wash up. No need, let us go together tomorrow. The next day, upon waking, Chun Xiao switched on the television in his room, where the program featured Zhang Enki, who had recently participated in a variety show. Chun Xiao chuckled as the leading lady of the show lay beside him. Ah, Zhang Enki stretched languidly, wrapping her arms around Chun Xiao's, and said, Senior, you're up so early. Indeed, I have to go to work. It's only just past 7. You should sleep a little longer. No, I want to accompany you for breakfast. After a moment's contemplation, Chun Xiao replied, All right, let us go to my company. Okay. After all, Zhang Enki resided in the villa across from Tung Xiao capital. It would be convenient for her to return after breakfast. I'll go freshen up. Glancing at the time, Chun Xiao realized they were short on time. Let us go together. Zhang Enki thought to herself. In the end, he has gotten his wish. By 8 o'clock, the two of them were neatly dressed and arrived at the Tung Xiao capital office building. They took the chairman's exclusive elevator to the 8th floor, avoiding the awkwardness of being surrounded by employees and preventing any rumors from circulating. Lin Yanran was taken aback upon seeing Zhang Enki walking in. Her arm linked with Chun Xiao's. She couldn't help but exclaim, the boss's partner is truly elevating her status. Yanran, prepare 2 breakfasts. Understood, boss. Zhang Enki felt a flutter of excitement as she stepped into her senior-s world for the first time. After a night of rain, the sky outside was exceptionally clear, and the weather was delightful. The shimmering waves of Qian Lake made the 8th floor of Tung Xiao capital the perfect vantage point. Wow, I never realized Qian Lake could look this beautiful from this angle, Zhang Enki remarked, utterly captivated. Chun Xiao smiled. If you like it, feel free to come often. Will it not disturb your work? Not all. You're right then. Zhang Enki beamed sweetly, though she didn't genuinely intend to visit frequently. With her senior managing so many enterprises, she certainly would not intrude on his work. Before long, the chef arrived with a cart of breakfast. Miss Sung, I wasn't sure of your preferences, so I made a random selection. Thank you, I'll eat anything. Zhang Enki was quite accommodating, devoid of any celebrity airs, resembling a friendly neighbor. Her sweet smile lit up her face as she spoke. Please enjoy your meal, the chef said, a bit nervous, as it was his first time meeting a star. Chun Xiao focused on his meal, while Lin Yanran continued to serve them attentively. Even Zhang Enki, being a girl herself, felt a twinge of envy. Having such beautiful sisters waiting on him every day was indeed something to yearn for. Eventually, it turned into a scenario where both Zhang Enki and Lin Yanran took turns serving breakfast to Chun Xiao alone. If outsiders were to witness this, they would surely be astonished. Generally, one wouldn't find such treatment for someone who had been bedridden for 10 years due to a stroke. After finishing breakfast, Zhang Enki bid farewell, heading home to rest. The taxing physical exertion from the previous night and this morning left her utterly fatigued. She canceled all activities for the day, intending to have a good sleep to recuperate and regain her energy. Meanwhile, Chun Xiao was set to commence another day of work. Yesterday, Yan Ziyuan resorted to a desperate tactic of robbing Peter to pay Paul, managing to sustain the stock price of Atlantic Capital Group, albeit precariously. Today, however, presented yet another arduous challenge for him. Chen Xiao surveyed the situation, recognizing that Atlantic Capital Group remained in dire straits. Not only was he offloading shares, but also several astute institutions had caught wind of Yin Ziyuan's divestment from his other enterprises. As soon as the market opened, the stock plummeted by 2 points. Though seemingly a minor dip, it was the final straw that shattered the confidence of investors. In the face of significant positive news, a decline in stock price led many to suspect undisclosed issues within Atlantic Capital Group. Consequently, cautious investors began to liquidate their holdings. Fortunately, a multitude of oblivious speculators rushed in to rescue Yin Ziyuan. Otherwise, the stock price of Atlantic Capital Group would have undoubtedly faced a catastrophic collapse. This group held unwavering belief in the promising prospects of Atlantic Capital Group, convinced that a meteoric rise was imminent. Thus, they seized the opportunity to buy aggressively during the downturn. Chen Xiao could hardly contain his amusement. The naivety of these investors felt oddly endearing. Without their fervent purchases, liquidating the 30 billion shares he had borrowed would have proven quite challenging. Amidst the intense battle between bulls and bears, Tung Xiao Capital accelerated its plan to divest. Within a week, they had successfully liquidated all their shares. Chen Xiao sold the 1.3 billion borrowed shares for over 30 billion. From that point onward, the true nightmare for Atlantic Capital Group began. Chen Xiao picked up the phone and called in Zhou. Hello, let Tong Yu commence. The investors can no longer be kept in the dark. Yes, boss. For the past week, Yin Ziyuan had been living in a state of dread. The stock price of Atlantic Capital Group had been in a tumultuous decline, continuously trending downward. From its peak, it had already dropped by 6 points. Should it fall another 6 points, it would trigger the liquidation of 10% of Atlantic Capital Group shares by Yinpeng's financial firm. Unless Yin Ziyuan repurchased shares himself, a collapse in stock price was inevitable. However, the funds he had secured through loans were allocated for purchasing the Yindu parcel number 13. Now, even extracting 10 billion in cash proved arduous for Yin Ziyuan, let alone repurchasing shares. He was waiting for the stock price to rise, hoping to liquidate and alleviate his difficulties. Yet, the stock price mirrored his current state, both languishing in weakness. Just as the roof leaks, calamity struck. After enduring days of slow, painful losses, he was suddenly beset by a tempest. Chairman, we have grave news. This was the very phrase Yin Ziyuan dreaded most. Irritated, he replied, Speak calmly, young man. One must maintain composure. Yes, Chairman. Our company's divestment from Jining Pharmaceutical and other firms has been leaked. What? Yin Ziyuan was taken aback, rising abruptly, completely forgetting his earlier admonishment about maintaining composure. How could this happen? Who leaked it? His delayed announcement by a week had already skirted the edges of legality, and now that it had been exposed, the damage was akin to a nuclear bomb. I don't know. Yin Ziyuan hastily opened his computer and was immediately inundated with news articles dominating various headlines. Atlantic Capital Group's illegal disclosure. What is the underlying motive? The Atlantic Capital Group is on the brink of a financial crisis, holding numerous parcels of land, yet lacking the funds for development. In a desperate bid for survival, is Atlantic Capital Group facing demise or rebirth? Yin Ziyuan felt a sudden dizziness. The chairman. Fortunately, his subordinates were quick to react. Otherwise, he might have collapsed. I'm fine, he managed to say. Turning back, he saw the stock price plummet like a bungee jump, taking a nosedive. Unable to stand any longer, he sank into his chair. Although he had anticipated this day might come, the reality was still difficult to accept. Countless investors were equally bewildered, never imagining that the once thriving Atlantic Capital Group would encounter such turmoil. The air was thick with shouts of indignation, permeating the entire financial sector. Chen Xiao, observing the plummeting stock of Atlantic Capital Group, could hardly suppress a laugh. Did they not seek refuge with the Wang family? Yin Ziyuan, you have indeed made a remarkable choice. Having borrowed 15 shares of Atlantic Capital Group, Chen Xiao sold them for over 30 billion. Now, if he were to buy them back to return to others, it would only cost a little over 27 billion. The 3 billion difference would be pure profit, even amidst a market downturn. Furthermore, Atlantic Capital Group still had a further 20 decline potential. In his office, Chen Xiao spent the entire day perusing online news articles. Investors had thoroughly lambasted Yin Ziyuan's ancestry. At precisely 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Chen Xiao promptly shut down his computer and left for the day, becoming the most proactive person in the company. Su Tang had intended to find Chen Xiao for a signature on a document. However, upon checking the time at 3:01, she returned the document, realizing that the boss had likely already exited the premises. Returning to Benhai Yuyuan, Chun Xiao headed straight for Zheng Enki's villa. The young lady, clad in pink bear pajamas, was rubbing her tousled hair, having just risen from bed. Upon seeing Chun Xiao, her face lit up with joy, though a hint of apprehension lingered. "Senior, you're here," she stammered. "Are you doing well?" Chun Xiao inquired. Zheng Enki blushed and replied, "I'm fine. Just taking it slow, so it doesn't affect my activities." "Oh, that is good to hear," Chun Xiao said. Hesitating, Zheng Enki asked, "Senior, will you be staying over tonight?" Chun Xiao nodded, sensing her thoughts, and smiled. "Don't worry, trust me." Zheng Enki replied, "Senior, I have a local radio program to attend tonight." Chun Xiao chuckled, taking out his phone. "Hello? All of Zheng Enki's engagements for today are cancelled. The radio program is postponed until tomorrow. She must wait." Zheng Enki thought there's a domineering senior, truly a mix of love and fear. This round of dual-direction trading with Atlantic Capital Group had yielded Chun Xiao at least over 10 billion in profits. The joy of this fortune would rest upon Zheng Enki. Initially, she felt a tinge of fear and concern, but Chun Xiao's adept skills alleviated all her worries. The joy of 10 billion, experienced in two phases, stretched late into the night. The night in Jining was damp and chilly, prompting the patrolling security personnel of Heishuan to tighten their coats. Meanwhile, within the villa, Chun Xiao embraced the warmth of a lovely figure, peacefully asleep. The following day, as the descent to the company awaited him, Chun Xiao lingered in bed until 8:30, reluctantly leaving the cocoon of his covers. It was evident that Zheng Qi intended to sleep until noon. Chun Xiao prepared himself alone and made his way to work. "Good morning." As he walked, Chun Xiao greeted his employees, leaving them astonished. It appeared the chairman had enjoyed a delightful evening, hence his splendid mood that day. Upon arriving at the company, Chun Xiao first made a round of the trading department, where the three teams had been tirelessly working overtime for over half a month, living and eating at the office, which was truly arduous. Chun Xiao addressed them. "Comrades, just hold on for another fortnight, and I shall reward you with a substantial bonus." The crowd erupted in cheers. The chairman's substantial bonus was not a mere 3 or 2,000. It could very well be equivalent to 1 or 2 years' worth of wages for the working class. "Thank you, boss. The boss is magnificent. Wishing you prosperity every day. And may you take several more wives." Chun Xiao responded, all right, let us get to work. In this day and age, how expensive are wives? How many are you all hoping for?" Such greed. The employees fell silent, acknowledging that he had already brought several into the company. Amidst the tension of their work, a brief exchange with the boss provided a refreshing mental reprieve. Naturally, the promise of a significant bonus post-project served as a considerable motivation. The subsequent task was to closely monitor the stock price of Atlantic Capital Group before it reached its nadir. They needed to buy back the stocks that had been borrowed at high prices and return them to the various institutions at a lower cost. However, Atlantic Capital Group opened the day with a halt in trading, indicating there was still considerable room for decline. After spending some time in the trading room, Chun Xiao retreated to his office to engage in a game of do diju with the twin sisters. The sound of cards slapping echoed throughout the spacious office. As the trio enjoyed their game, the phone in Chun Xiao's office rang. Lin Yanran set down her cards and hurried over to check. It was a call from the chairman's office of Atlantic Capital Group. "Boss, it's from the chairman of Atlantic Capital Group." Chun Xiao paused, wondering what this was about. "Hand it over." "All right." Lin Yanran passed the cordless phone to Chun Xiao, who found Yin Ziyuan on the other end. "Hello, Chairman Yin. I heard you just returned from Yindu." Yin Ziyuan was taken aback. "How did you know I was in Yindu?" Chairman Yin, we all possess some insight. Let us not feign ignorance." In an instant, Yin Ziyuan's mind raced back 6 months when Chun Xiao was still an unknown figure, lacking even the qualification to meet him at the Jining charity auction. How swiftly things had changed. Now, he possessed the strength to contend with Atlantic Capital Group. The most critical aspect was that he had yet to confront Chun Xiao directly. "Chun Xiao, what will it take for you to let me be?" Chun Xiao replied with a smile. "Chairman Yin, you exaggerate. I have been out of the market for several days and have not engaged in any transactions. The halt in your trading today cannot be attributed to me." "Chun Xiao, those comments circulating online are your doing, aren't they?" "Absolutely not." Chun Xiao vehemently denied. "Mr. Yin, should you continue to cast baseless accusations, I shall not hesitate to pursue